Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. This is the Maverick Podcast. I am your host, DJMaverick. Today, we have a super talented guest, third generation commercial artist, the one and only Okie Dust. Welcome to the podcast.
Here. We made it.
How's it going?
It's good. Yep.
Awesome.
So I'm Dusty Gilpin.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm just an artist here in Oklahoma City. Full-time chump, part-time artist. But yeah, man, that's it.
Before we jump in, for the 1% of the people out there that don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about what you do. I know we said commercial artist, but you do all kinds. You mix all different kinds of textures and everything. So,
so kind of like a fun saying that I used to say is like by any media necessary. You know, so I screen print. I do digital work, graphic design. I kind of grew up in a design studio. I love drawing cartoons and illustration. I love lettering. Cool. I love graffiti. I kind of had a little graffiti period while I was in high school and college and that kind of stuff. So awesome. I like that. But now pretty much it's just signs and murals and like digital art.
Cool. Yeah. I've had several muralists on the podcast, and they always give you a shout out.
Oh, man.
It always leads to Okie Dust.
Oh, yeah. I've been around a while, I guess, painted a lot of stuff. Oklahoma City's not a huge scene, It's growing. It's growing tremendously. It's incredible how much it's grown in the last. So I've probably been painting murals for maybe 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's like quadrupled. It's insane.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
We're popping off, and it's really good. So I am lucky to have just a little bit of a jump start on some of these younger guys like Jose,
shout out Jose.
And I got to kind of take them under my wing. Yeah. Some of those guys, you know what I mean, or gals or whatever. But cool. So yeah, it's cool. That's nice. Awesome. It's really nice whenever they that's super. I mean, Jose doesn't have to mention me. You know what I mean? None of these people have to mention me. I'm just a chump.
That's the thing that I've been most impressed with is like how close-knit your community is.
A lot of that is, for a long time, it was just kind of difficult to paint a mural or a sign in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
We had these kind of archaic laws or ordinances that would pretty much keep you from putting like graffiti murals or portraitures or even like artwork that was related to the business. So if we were going to paint something on that outside of this and we did a microphone, it used to be like, no, you can't paint a microphone because that's a sign now.
Really?
And so there are all these like different ordinances and stuff. And so I think we were friends because we were all working against the man. You know what I mean? Like trying to paint stuff. That was like the goal. We got to find some walls. We don't have anything to paint. So
did you grow up in Oklahoma or where did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were born in OKC or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Born in OKC. And it's like deep rooted OKC. My dad was born in OKC. His dad was born in Oklahoma. We go back like 4 or 5 generations. Like Land Run on one side of the family and then Choctaw on the other side.
Wow.
Like, so
long
time. Yeah,
that's cool.
Like pre-statehood or right around statehood.
Okay. Yeah. So in the intro, we said third generation.
Third generation artist.
Yeah. So
long time generation Oklahoman.
How did it start? How did everything start out?
Well, I guess in my granddad was his name was Richard Gilpin. Dick Gilpin, great guy, incredible artist, super funny, humble. Treated his employees well. He was just a great guy.
Cool.
And it's cool. I'm just like rolling off on this now, but it's cool now. Like there's men that are like my father's age that knew my granddad that are artists that he mentored here.
Oh, okay.
So I kind of get this like, I'll be at an art show and I'll see some guy that's maybe 60 and I'll be like, your granddad was my boss whenever I first started doing art. And it's awesome. Like really cool. But so my granddad, he was in the military. He came back, and he started doing design work or illustration. He was just a really good artist, and so he started trading Oklahoma State University design work for classes. So he would go to classes a little bit, and this was like 1950 probably.
So he was doing like their like merchandise or logos, or what type of stuff was he doing?
It would be like letterheads or like programs for football games,
like posters,
maybe. Posters, book covers. He did, in like they used to have different colleges for each thing. So whatever, medical college or pharmaceutical or architecture or whatever.
Yeah.
So he'd illustrate all the book covers for each one of those.
Oh, that's
cool.
Yeah.
He did Pistol Pete stuff. He did a lot of Pistol Pete illustrations.
Okay.
But so he didn't graduate, but he was in school there, came back to Oklahoma City in 1952 and started a design studio right on 13th and Classen.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which is like, I'm in the Plaza, which is like 16th and Classen, pretty much.
That's pretty cool.
So it's cool. Yeah. I like drive around these same roads my granddad did. And I see buildings that he, like worked in. And so then my dad just followed in his footsteps. He went to college, came back, worked for Graphic Art Center. That's what it's called. And that's it. And so then I was born and I got to grow up in an art studio. And it was like graphic design studio. So it was, they were like cutting out poster or, doing all the layouts and
no Photoshop, right?
Yeah,
like it was
that's
like,
what's crazy. Airbrush, like in Photoshop, used to literally be an airbrush. They'd be like airbrushing photos, like softening people's faces or adding a glow or whatever. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's crazy.
And like, it was just cool.
So it was meant to be. It was in the cards, right?
Man. Oh yeah. I mean, it's like there's no way I could ever get out of Oklahoma. There's no way I could ever just get out of art. I'm just like, this was, and I'm a faithful guy. And so I do believe like this was the path that I was designed to do. Right.
Yeah. Now, usually when you hear family business, the kids always want to rebel and they're like, I don't want any part of that. Was there ever a split second where you're like, I want to join a rock and roll band or something?
I think my parents would probably say that there were some, but I don't think, I've always drawn. Yeah. It's like and written, I just like drawing, doodling. And so I think what happened was I grew up with this graphic design, like foundation, right? And so then in high school, when I wanted to rebel, it was like, I like drawing cartoons. My granddad likes drawing cartoons. He likes drawing letters. I like drawing letters. But what's dope with cartoons and letters? Graffiti. And, like now, and so then that graffiti, I started painting whatever, little ditches and stuff around my neighborhood and electrical boxes and all that stuff and whatever. And you get in trouble and you do your stuff or whatever. But that's it, where we're like painting on on walls. And so your letters, instead of being like a traditional D, it's like, well, this D is going to be like bent here and come off over here. It's going to have a bevel and it's going to have this outline. And then it's going to have my cartoon next to it, pointing at it. And
so when I see your stuff and your lettering and stuff, sometimes it gives like a retro but yet modern vibe. I don't know if that's the way you would describe it, but it kind of reminds me like back in the day when people would put like, actual paint on businesses to advertise or whatever.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like some of your lettering reminds me of that, but it's like a modern twist on that.
Yeah, I try to float that. I think it's, again, just like just influence from everything, I love lettering, but and so I do signs. And so sometimes it just depends on the client and the application. What do they want? Do they need something super psychedelic and crazy? Like, okay, let's do it. Or do they just want like my logo? You just want a logo. Then it's like, I got to learn to do straight letters too. So I think being as malleable to cater to people sometimes helps you grow as an artist, because you're learning things, even if it's like, man, I do not want to do this logo, right? If I go do it, and you might learn something, there's going to be something different about that wall or that paint or that logo that's going to teach you something, and then you take that information and you go apply it to the dope stuff that you're trying to do on your own.
Okay, cool.
And so awesome. And that's like, so kind of like before the show we were talking about just like making it as an artist, as an independent.
Let's get into that, because I think, I was talking about myself too. Like there's so many creatives out there that would love to do what you're doing, right? Like you're living the dream. You're like being creative, right? Like that's paying your bills. A lot of people don't get that opportunity, right? Right. They have to work at 8 to 5, a quote unquote real job, right?
Well, again, just like we were saying earlier, it is also like you kind of have to train yourself to be on a low budget, to operate on a low budget. I mean, I am super blessed. I'm married. I have a wonderful wife who has a wonderful job, you know, and I'm not saying that I just get to skate by without generating any income, but it is also, I mean, you do have to kind of learn to be broke if you're going to try to make it as an artist. And that sucks. It's not cool being broke all the time, you know, but you will it will force you to figure it out, you know.
So did you ever have like a quote unquote real job and then you like hated it, or you've always kind of done your own thing?
I mean, the realist jobs I had were like working in screen printing shops. I worked at Eskimo Joe's screen printing shop whenever I was in Stillwater, but I wasn't even on like the print floor. I was just moving boxes around, you know. I wanted to be printing.
So you were just wanting to be like around it at the time, at least like try to be around it.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Definitely always try to put myself around art or whatever, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you made the jump. Like one day you were like, hey, like I just got to do my own thing, or how did it go down?
Well, so I was in college at OSU, following the footsteps of my father and his father before, you know. And like my grandfather, I didn't finish OSU. I just was up there, and one of my friends, John Milner, was a friend from high school, and he called me up one time and was like, yo, you do art. I just bought a screen printing press. Can you help me figure this out? You know,
just
I want to get it going.
Out of the blue, like
it was pretty random. I mean, he was calling me about like helping out with a camp. They needed some volunteers or whatever, and we just got on that conversation of like, oh, what are you up to these days? I'm like, I'm an artist. I'm in art school. I want to start a screen printing shop someday. And he's like, no way, I bought a screen printing press. Come on down. You know, so he and Bryson Panis and Chase Kirby, all four of us started a little T-shirt shop in our garage. And it was called Tree and Leaf. And it was just we just screen printed silly T-shirts, and so we started taking in contract orders, and so I would do the design work for, you know, whatever high school, and then we'd just print them in the garage, and it just we weren't paying ourselves. You know, there were four owners. In a screen printing company, we're not making any money, but we paid off our equipment. And then we found like a really cheap space to rent. You know, and it was way up on Northwest Expressway. Some people remember it because it was super hard to get to. It's like far away from everything.
Was that like, it was like where Target is?
Yeah.
I think I remember those little shops in the back.
Yeah,
right?
we were in the back over there. Like Looney Bin Comedy Club was back there.
Those are like super hidden kind of.
Yeah, they're still empty. I don't think there's anything back there. But so we were in that area, and we did a couple different things. We occupied like 3 spaces at one time and ran a concert venue.
Oh, really?
We were having like parties and graffiti jams and concerts, and
that's very cool.
Yeah, it was super fun. So that was, you know, we were young. We started the company when I was 20. We just dropped out of college and I lived with my parents until I was 26 down the street from my screen printing shop, you know, and they were just like, get out. But we slowly like just kept putting our money back into the business. And it was fun, man. It was really fun. So we ended up doing that for like 12 years. And then we had a store in the Plaza District that was just retail. And we had the big screen printing operation out on the other side of town. And it was cool. You know, we didn't make a ton of money, but everybody, you know, we paid our employees well. We survived on our, you know, 20s and 30s, and
that's
it was
a win.
Great.
In my book,
we
you know?
We met, and for me, that 10 years or 12 years became like kind of my doctorate degree in art, because I was getting to meet like every artist I know now. Really, I probably met through the doors in my shop. You know what I mean? Like,
Jose mentioned that he would go buy paint at your shop,
when
right?
he was like 16.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
that's
he
cool.
had to come in with parents,
really?
because I couldn't sell paint to minors.
Yeah. Okay.
And then, but we were having art shows and you know, so Dylan Bradway and Tony Thunder and Jason Polly and Chris Canale and all these guys, you know, we just like all these people. We employed Tanner Frady, who's a great sign painter, and Phil Bearshield and John Metcalf started their own screen printing company, and Taylor Dickerson started a screen printing company. It was crazy. We just like, it was this cool hub that, you know, it dissolved eventually, but all these people kind of ended up coming out of it like independent creative.
So for a while, was it like just like a hub where like people would just hang out, like creative people?
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, there were probably 6 to 8 people there every day, just kind of doing something. I'd be doing design work. John would be doing the accounting and the ordering and invoicing, all that stuff. And then we have like maybe 4 or 5 guys in and around the shop just doing stuff. Okay. Yeah, it was fun. It was great.
Yeah, and I want to say you guys also like kind of did your own like shirts too, like you had like your own kind of merch line, right?
Yeah, I guess it was a brand. Yeah, and it was fun, and it was all so that was real early on. We started doing like some Thunder parody shirts, which you know, the Thunder was new, and there weren't really like too many other t-shirt shops doing the knockoff Thunder stuff, streetwear type Thunder stuff, and so that kind of gave us a really great following. And you know, you pull them in with that stuff, and then they see that you've got some other shirt about Oklahoma. We did a ton of like just Oklahoma City positive shirts or Oklahoma General shirts, so we're just stoked on this state. Awesome. And so
because you don't see a lot of like rep Oklahoma merch, right? Like you always see like I love New York or whatever, right? But never Oklahoma.
Man,
so
15
that's
years
needed.
ago, there was like, I mean, you really couldn't find like an Oklahoma shirt that wasn't like collegiate football related.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
so. Okay, cool. So walk me, how did the whole like murals come about? Like how did that, because that seems like it's like a whole different format. You're talking like large scale. Like how did that go down?
Yeah, I mean, so we were doing graffiti. And I say we, just like the groups of people that I was hanging around with. And so every space that we occupied had a mural on the wall of some sort, on the outside or the inside or whatever. So we're painting that, and then it just grows from there. Like somebody comes into the store and they're like, man, I'd like something like graffiti mural in my restaurant or bar or whatever, garage or something, or church youth room or whatever it is, high school art class or whatever. And so you go, okay, yeah, well, I'll do it for some beers and a pizza. And they're like, cool, okay. And you go do it. And then the next time you go, man, I didn't make any money off that. I should probably charge
at least supplies $50 or something,
right? And so then you're young and, you know, you're stoked on it, but you're like, oh man, I came away from this next job with like enough extra paint to go paint something else or whatever. And it really is. It's like stair step, baby step. You just kind of build stuff up.
Walk me through maybe like the worst experience of doing that. I don't know if you want to share that, but like, did you ever like sign up for a project and it turned out to be like this massive wall or something, and you're like, no, there's no way.
I'm trying to think of like horror stories. All the real horror stories are like knocking over a paint bucket, or you know, dropping a fully loaded paintbrush like off your lift or something. You know, it splats right on the ground.
Never like I signed up for something and like there's no way I can do it type of thing.
I don't think I ever had anything too major like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Hope not. Knock on like fake wood.
No, it'll work. Yeah. Cool. So walk me through that creative process and like how do you like let's say I say I want a mural or whatever. Do you like sketch it out on a piece of paper first? Do you do it on like a Mac? Like what's your process there?
So my design work, my illustration work, and my mural work, pretty much everything of mine starts with pencil and paper. Almost 100% of the time. Okay. Maybe I'll doodle something in Procreate or Adobe Draw with the pencil on the iPad, but I get way better results personally with pencil and paper.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I start there. If I ask the client what they're looking for. Yeah. If it needs to be logo based or even subject based, like it's a restaurant, we want this type of whatever theme or you know, yeah. Okay. So you just kind of bounce off stuff like that, and then it does go pencil, paper, draw some stuff up, pull it into Illustrator. I'm like married to Illustrator.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The Illustrator pen tool.
Yeah.
If anybody knows, click, 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 click. That's I
your
pen tool everything. Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a maniac when it comes to pen tool. But so yeah, I do that. Measure the wall. Either do it through a grid. There's a couple different applications, like when installing a mural, you can use a pattern, you can use a projector, you can use a grid or a freehand, so it kind of just depends on the media, is it spray paint? Is it latex? There's a bunch of different stuff.
Got it. Okay. So I think in my notes, I saw that you were colorblind.
I am colorblind.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So how does that work being an artist? How is that like a roadblock type thing, or is it like never bothered you?
Man, I think, so it's, I'm red-green colorblind. It runs in the males on my mom's side of my family. So my dad and my granddad aren't colorblind, but I am. I think initially it probably pushed a lot of my work to be black and white. Okay. I used to, when I was younger, I used to only draw like cartoon, like comic style cartoons, and not like comic like Superman, like comic like newspaper comic, little panel cartoons, like funny Mickey little Mouse, jokes
Steamboat,
or whatever. Yeah.
Mickey Mouse Steamboat cartoon, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Steamboat Willie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cuphead or something, that style. But, and then I think once you start using spray paint, there's all these colors, and it's, I don't know, I just ended up trying to use colors. And so now, I mean, a lot of my art really goes into this like very, very warm color palette. I like using orange, pink, yellow, purple, real bright, super, super saturated colors.
Yeah.
And I've never like tested the colorblind glasses or anything like that, but I'm kind of like, man, maybe I'm overdoing it. Maybe this stuff is really not good.
or maybe it'll like open up like a different side of your artwork, right?
I know. I'm nervous though. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to risk it. Well, I'd rather ignorance is bliss.
I mean, I think the stuff that I've seen, like it's super complimentary, right? Like that's the thing that I'm like kind of questioning is like if you're colorblind, how do you know what colors are complementary to one another? Because like I have a hard time with that, right? Like, like how do you do that?
I don't know. I think I'm painting it the way I'm seeing it, right? And it's not like being colorblind is exaggerating any colors, right? So. But it may skew the spectrum in which I paint it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird. Huh? Yeah. I mean, there are some things like skin tones are difficult for me because I'm red-green colorblind. So you have a color like brown where it's red and green, right? And so it's difficult for me to sometimes differentiate between a brown that has like a red or a like a maroon tint to it or like a pinkish hue versus a brown that's going to be like something you would use with like a tree, where it's like green brown or something like that. So those colors are real difficult to tell. Yeah. Blue and purple are really, really close. And that one is one that has gotten me into issues before. Luckily, colors on the cans or whatever are like labeled. But like when I was a kid in like elementary school, I would color the map purple, for the water instead of blue because the kids would like peel the labels off the crowns,
like,
and you're like, yes, I mean, I guess. They'd be like, why? Yours purple. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But, so you just kind of, I guess you just figure it out.
Man, that's pretty cool. Because like some people would have said like, hey, I'm colorblind. Maybe I shouldn't be an artist, right? But you're like, hey, forget it.
Just
let's
go
run
for
with
it.
it.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, and the client will correct you. You paint something wrong. Somebody is going to be like, yo,
the water's purple.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it's okay. A couple little mistakes, and then you're like, figure it out.
Another thing that's cool about you is your van. Like, I totally dig your van. So are you a big car person or how?
Yeah. Love.
Tell me a little bit about that. Like, how's your love about cars come about?
Well, so. Just kind of, again, with the family, grew up with uncles that were mechanics, and my cousins were always super into cars. They're mechanics now. Both my cousins are mechanics now.
Okay.
And I was an artist, but I still enjoyed, I enjoy the design
Yeah.
of a classic automobile. You know,
What's
all
like
the
your
details.
like pie in the sky? If you could have any car in the world, is it like a hot rod? Like, what would you pick?
Man, I don't know. That old van that I drive around.
It's pretty good.
I mean, you know, if
Yeah.
you just settle, then life is bliss.
I saw on your IG where you're like, where else can you get this driving experience? Because like the engine is inside the van.
In the van,
right?
yeah. You can take the, it's called the doghouse, but you can take the doghouse off and be like tuning your carburetor while you're like driving.
Smelling the gas and the fumes and stuff. Okay.
And so, yeah, you know, just I like old cars. So my pie in the sky, my like, man, I don't know. I do like real old Porsches are real cool. I think that's kind of like probably driven from just being a designer, you know, that's like very design driven.
Yeah.
But any of those old trucks are great, you know, Internationals, old trucks, you know.
I was expecting you to be like 69 Camaro or 65 Mustang or something like that.
I have an old Malibu and I have my van.
Okay.
And I'm good with those.
And you're good.
Now. Yeah.
Okay.
My Malibu, you know, if I could have my dreams come true, it would be just renovating my Malibu to where it needs to be.
Okay.
To be a great car.
Cool.
It's a great car. But
And you're pretty like handy as far as mechanical work, or what?
I would say, man, I can take stuff off and take some pictures and watch a YouTube video and put the new one on.
Okay.
And most of the time it runs.
And you don't have like extra parts. Like that's what happens with me. Like I've got all these extra screws and I'm like, I don't know. That's why I don't ever try it anymore.
Yeah. Sometimes definitely it is much better to bite the bullet and pay somebody to fix your car. Because paying somebody to do 3 hours worth of work that is going to take me 3 days worth of work might be worth it. So time is money sometimes. But yeah, so that old van is cool. I got the van because it's obviously a work truck. It is just completely big and empty on the inside.
And it's
I've got
super
a little
unique,
sink.
right? Like you don't see like
painted
vans
up,
like that.
It's all painted up on the outside, so it's got graffiti on the back and some letters on the front, and it's very bright. And
it's like almost your business card, right?
Oh yeah,
like it introduces
is.
you before like you even get there, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, you know, that's cool. It's a billboard. It's a rolling billboard. It's a big old van.
Yeah.
So.
And it's reliable. Like
it's reasonably reliable.
Okay, reasonably.
It's part of the romance of owning a vintage vehicle is it not being reliable, right? You have to be unsure whether or not you're going to get to your destination.
Okay, cool. All right. So I know that there's an interesting story where you like hitchhiked once upon a time, right? Tell me about that.
I went hitchhiking one time. I went hitchhiking a couple times, but one time was like a big time. It was early whenever we had started Tree and Leaf, so we were up on Rockwell and Northwest Expressway.
Okay, so you're like 20?
I was 21. 21 years old. And one of our employees, his name was Caleb Nims. He was like my graffiti tagging buddy or whatever. Red 405 or Okie actually was what he used to. He used to write graffiti. It was Okie. Okay. And so one of our first graffiti pieces said Okie Dust right underneath it. So that kind of ended up just being Okie Dust. So Okie and I, Caleb Nims, we left the store at like 7 in the morning the first day of spring break, and we were like, we're just gonna go hitchhiking.
Just like random on the whim.
Yeah.
You're just
because we had 1 week. You know, we were out of school and we didn't have jobs that week or something.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's just go hitchhike. Let's see how far we can make it. We were like,
how much do you have in your pocket? Like,
man, it wasn't a lot. We did not have a lot. But we packed. We had one backpack each, and you know, I bet we probably had $250 or something. Okay. You know, I don't know.
It's not gonna get you very
$500 maybe. But we weren't. We kind of made it a rule, like we're not spending money.
Okay.
Or like for travel, right? We're not paying. You know, we're not gonna go get a Uber. Well, I mean, Uber wasn't around.
Right.
But so we started walking down the street at 7 o'clock in the morning. Our parents came. They took us to IHOP up there on Expressway. My parents were just like,
you told them,
please do not do this. Oh yeah, they knew. They were like, awesome. They knew we were doing it, you know. Oh man, they were so, I can't. And now I'm like thinking back on it, you know, like
what were you
that
thinking?
Is so insane. That's like the dumbest thing to do. So we just start walking down the road, you know, and we made it to I-40. And so we left the store at 7 o'clock. By noon, we were in Amarillo.
Really?
Yeah, it was amazing. We were just like we're
random,
going.
like
Yeah, just all these different rides.
Yeah.
Just down the highway, you know. And so we ended up getting out to Amarillo by noon. So like that first day, I think we ended up in like Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Okay.
And then it just went on from there. It was a week, and so we ended up in San Francisco.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And we got to San Francisco, and we like had to get back.
Yeah.
You know, and so we ended up using the rest of our money to get a Greyhound bus. It was a 40-hour Greyhound bus from San Francisco. It was terrible. It was terrible. And we were just dead tired too because we've been walking so long. I mean, you're just walking out these barren highways, you know, for a long time. But it was amazing. I'll say, so my takeaway from hitchhiking was that in 1 week, we went from Oklahoma City to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. I swear we got picked up by every demographic. Like it was gay, straight, man, woman,
truckers,
black, white. Well, we didn't get any truckers.
No truckers,
because and that was something we thought we would get truckers, but
That's what I would have thought.
Out on the road, they have like insurance policies and stuff. They can't pick up random strangers. They have jobs to do. You know what I mean? So you don't really get picked up. We got picked up by everybody though. We got picked up by like refugees. I mean, it was just amazing. I mean, it was wild. But so
nothing sketchy like happened along the way where
there were like maybe some sketchy people, but you know, I think if you're just putting off a vibe like, hey, I'm not sketchy, then they're like, okay, cool. You're not sketchy. That's fine. I'm not going to be sketchy around you.
All right, cool. Because I have to confess, I've never picked up a hitchhiker ever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have you done that? Where it's reverse.
Yeah. Now I think it's kind of like the rule of the road. I got picked up by a lot of people, so I am obligated unless I am like on the way somewhere. Yeah, if I see somebody and they've got their thumb out, I will probably pick them up.
Man,
I will probably pick
them
up.
And nothing sketchy happened. No.
Okay. People are just trying to get somewhere.
Yeah,
they're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think there's so many horror stories, and we can demonize the world. You know,
that's probably my thing. I've watched like too many like crime shows or like movies or something. Like that's probably my.
Well, and we were 21 at the time, 21 or 22, and there were two of us. Yeah. So it wasn't like I was just walking out into the world alone. True. I had my best friend at the time. He was taller than me. So that's good.
He was kind of like the muscle behind the operation.
He was very skinny, but he was taller. You know, so
no. And what was the end goal? Like we're gonna go to
just had
West
the
Coast.
Week. It was just like see how far we could go.
Okay.
We were gonna try to do it as like a philanthropic thing at first. We were like, let's raise money. Maybe we can get people to donate like 5 cents per mile or something like that. So we made this whole thing. We took it to all these businesses. Nobody. Nobody. I think everybody was like, we're not supporting you hitchhiking. That's a terrible idea. Even if it is for a good cause, we're not going to do it. But
it's too bad. Like YouTube, I don't know if it probably wasn't around, right? But you probably could have made
it would have been. I know.
A whole vlog out of it.
And that was part of it too. We documented the whole thing.
Oh, you did?
I did video the whole thing. Okay. So I have like maybe 10 hours of footage of us,
You should upload that to YouTube.
I know, but it's just like, it took forever, because it was high 8 tapes, cassette tapes at the time. And so, that ended up being going out or whatever, and you sell your camera, but you keep the tapes, and then you're like, wait a minute, I can't watch these. Right? And so, then, I think a couple years ago, I mailed them to somebody to
like convert it?
Okay. And it was like $300 or something. Oh, yeah. Actually, it wasn't. I didn't mail them. I just went down the street right over here to
Bedford.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They did it for me. Yeah. But it was expensive because it's like 10 tapes. And it's just like all this weird.
So you got the footage digital at least.
I have. Right? Yeah, I've got it digital. Okay. So maybe I'll.
You should totally.
I know. I need to find some. It's embarrassing though too. I'm like young.
Yeah.
I'm just talking to the camera, all sweaty.
That's awesome. You were like the first vlogger. And you didn't even know
we're out here in the desert. We're gonna die. I'm just like, man, I don't want to watch this.
What'd you do for meals and stuff like?
We would just eat at whatever.
Just like the cheapest, whatever you could find.
I mean, and that there's like a lot of really kind people out there on the road too. People would buy us food and take care of us. It was nice, man. We like I drove somebody's car. You know what I mean? Like a woman picked us up and she had a baby in the backseat.
Really?
You know, like this is like the craziest stuff.
Wow.
Like people are really, really trusting.
Yeah.
Like 2 21-year-old, you know, it's just like,
and I've got my baby, and like,
yeah,
why
right,
not?
yeah.
Let's pick them
Sure,
up.
here's some strangers.
That's amazing. A lot more trusting than what I would be. I think.
Yeah.
Man.
Oh, you got to pick them up. They need help, man.
So tell me about like some of your coworkers. I've got here like Carlos Barboza, Tanner, Dylan, like who all like would you consider kind of like your coworkers there?
Those guys are, I mean, Jason Polly's in there too. I mean, I don't want to miss anybody, but
put you on the spot.
I get to paint with those guys a lot, and it's awesome, man. I learn something from those guys every time.
Yeah.
There are other artists that just love art. They love making stuff. They love being outside. There is something like therapeutic to being up against a wall and just painting and cutting a little tiny line that's like, you know, it's cool, man. And you're up there on a little lift that's like the size of this table, just 2 people for 12 hours or whatever for a week. Yeah, it's like you make great friends. So it's cool. So Carlos, amazing, incredible
His
artist.
stuff, like I've seen, it's almost like what do you call it? Like it's like not realism, like it's like it looks like an actual portrait, right? Like it's amazing.
His stuff is hyper realistic, and that's a cool too about just those 3 people that you mentioned and other artists that I get to work with. Everybody's style is wildly different.
It's unique. Yeah.
Carlos's stuff is not like Jason Polly's. Jason Polly's is not like Dylan's. Dylan's is not like Tanner's.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to get to work with just those artists and then soak up whatever knowledge they're, you know, styles are different. Tanner Frady's stuff is like super, super, super clean, precise, like the cleanest, straightest lines, beautiful letters, you know. Carlos's stuff is that precise except photorealistic, you know. So you have these wildly different styles.
Yeah,
but,
that's
cool. Man, those guys. Tony Thunder, I work with Tony Thunder a lot, just like illustrating stuff, or I get to screen print posters for people sometime, or even assist them on their murals, which is fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm kind of even like moving in that direction. I like helping other artists install their murals now.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of less headache for me. Drafting and coming up with concepts and stuff is mentally exhausting.
Yeah.
And so if Carlos calls me and says, hey, I got a gig, we need to go paint, I can say, yeah, sure, I'll be there. I'll be there from this time to this time, and here's my rate. And
That's
I don't have
awesome.
to send an email. Man, I'm like terrible at all the back end. You know.
Yeah. If you're creative, you just want to do like the creative part, right? Like, you don't care about like all the business behind the scenes.
Right. Yeah. I'm not exactly a wonderfully punctual person.
Yeah.
And I have to make an admission of guilt here. I'm admitting to the listeners that we had an email thread going. Well, first off, Luis reached out to me on Instagram, said, hey, you want to do a podcast? I said, I don't really think so because I'm kind of a chump.
You're like, I forgot what you said. You're like, I don't know what I would really talk about.
I don't have anything of value to contribute.
It's just a conversation. Like, just come hang out. Yeah.
So I was trying to dodge it. At first, and then he followed up. We got it. We got an email with all these questions. I filled it out. It had the date, 8/11, right? 8/11 rolls around. I get a phone call from Luis. He's like, where you at, my man?
Like, hey, are you still making it?
I missed it. I never do that. You know, I'm super scatterbrained and aloof and goofy, but I'm really, that was bad. I'm so embarrassed by that.
It's all good.
I humbly apologize before all podcasters.
The most important thing is you're here today. So
I'm here. We made it.
That's what matters. Yeah. And look at us. We're having a conversation. You got a ton of stories. A lot of cool stuff to share with us.
I got a lot of stories. That's it. Yeah.
I think one of the things I always like to ask the people on the podcast is like, if I were to pull up your playlist, like, what am I going to find on your playlist?
Oh, man.
Like, who do you listen
I'd
to?
love to. Yeah, let's share my playlist.
Tell me what you dig right now.
So I listen to a lot of soul and funk.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of funkadelic, and I listen to a lot of hip-hop, old school hip-hop.
Like who? Like mention some bands or artists.
I mean, if we were trying to find just like a random radio station, I would say put on Tribe Called Quest radio. Okay. You know what I mean? Put it on MF Doom. I like MF Doom. I'll listen to that all day long. Right.
Okay.
I mean, all those. I mean, you know.
And psychedelic, like who would you put up there as far as psychedelic stuff?
Oh, or like Funkadelic. I like Funkadelic for their stuff. George Clinton. I mean, just all that old stuff is great, man. Cool. I just I like a lot of instrumental stuff, jazz stuff. Bob James and Ramsey Lewis are some like incredible jazz musicians that I listen to a lot, but they're all old school guys that get sampled in like every hip hop song that you know.
There's a lot of jazz samples in hip hop.
So that is kind of where my music goes. I love hip hop and I'll listen to all these songs, and the ones that have samples, I'll go, damn, that's dope. Yeah. I like that. And then I'll find that track and then I'll go look it up. Right. Okay. And just by following DJs as well, you know, I listen to a guy named Scratch Bastard a lot, and he's really great about just educating his listeners with his music.
Overseas, right?
He's in Canada. Yeah, he's up in Canada. Okay, yeah. Okay, cool. But his stuff's great because he's always like informing people about, oh, here's a great jazz breakbeat or something like that. Okay. You know, be like, oh man, that's great. So
that's cool. Yeah, yeah. So when you're like painting or whatever, you always have music in the background?
Oh, yeah. I always have music on the background, everywhere. Cool. I've got a radio on. I was like, when I was a kid, I would sleep with a radio at bed, just like scrolling through the channels. I'm one of those weird people, like if I'm listening, I do listen to the regular radio sometimes. So
even to this day?
Oh, yeah. Like in the car, and I'll just be like going through the channels, like listening. Yeah. I cool. always have music on.
Yeah. I think there's always like a connection there between like creatives and like music. It kind of like merges with art, you know.
Oh, definitely.
Like even like hip hop, right? Like you would have the break dancers and then the tag.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like,
the pillars. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. The elements of hip hop for sure.
Cool.
They've worked together to create that beautiful community, you know. But that's like something I've always joked about with too. Is like the worst part about being an artist is that I wish I was a musician.
Really?
You know. I mean, it's like, well, because it's this talent that is like, oh man, that's so cool. There's like, you know, but I have musician friends that are like the same way. Like, man, but I can't draw a stick figure. You know, like, you know, well, I can't strum a chord.
But you said you've done like art shows where you've mixed like music and art shows. Or,
oh yeah. Okay. We ran a venue for a while. It was called the Arbor, and so, it would be like art on the walls, or maybe there's like graffiti happening in the background, or a live mural or something like that. Yeah. While a band plays.
That's what I was telling Dustin Caballero. He's been on the pod, right? And I told him it'd be dope to have an art show where there's a DJ playing live, and then he's kind of like doing a mural or whatever live, kind of going one off each other with the music and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that would be cool.
Yeah,
you know? Like, because I think you could vibe off of one another, and like it'd just be a cool thing to experience for the people that showed up, you know?
I get that vibe a lot from, I don't know if you spend a bunch of time in the Plaza Walls alley and gallery and that kind of stuff, but like the Milk Crate Jam and the Plaza Walls Mural Expo or the Plaza Festival in general is just like, those are like the most amazing. I love those things because it is that. You got the DJs, you got the b-boys and b-girls out there, and then you have all these people painting. It's right amazing, there, right? Man. The energy is so good, man. Yeah. And it's wild to be like, the hip hop community in Oklahoma City is amazing. But that is amazing. It's because again, 15 or even 20 years ago, it just was not like that, and it's just grown. It's amazing.
Cool.
It's great.
Any cool like projects you're currently working on that you can maybe share with us?
Oh, let's think. I'm trying to think.
I know you said you came straight from like working right now, right?
Yeah, I'm just putting nothing crazy, but just a little sign mural on Cookies Karaoke Bar, very classic.
I thought it was the other Cookies.
Yeah, no, not a dispensary. I do paint at a lot of dispensaries a lot. That is very common work now. I mean, post 2019, whenever Oklahoma legalized marijuana, right? All those dispensaries need design work. All those dispensaries need murals inside their space. It's great. I mean, it's work. So I do a lot of that stuff. I don't know. I mean, Honestly, I should know. This is like the worst thing. Anybody who's a potential client is like, he doesn't even know who his clients are.
I'm sure you probably have like 1,000 projects going on, right?
I try to keep it. I don't know, man. I'm always all over the place. I try to keep a manageable list, and I try to tell people. I try to be as upfront as possible. Just being like, I am on site more than I'm in office. Mm-hmm. So if you send me an email and I don't reply to it for like 4 days or 5 days or next week, then I'm sorry. I'm just out. I'm up on a wall on some scaffolding or whatever from, and when I get home, I got homework to do. You know what I mean? I got family work to do. Yeah. So
cool. But, do you ever get like burnt out or like maybe, like writers get like writer's block, right? Like, does that happen for an artist where you're like just kind of like you have this block and you need to do something else to get creative again, or what?
I think definitely. Yeah. My retreat from art is often nature. Okay. I love being outdoors. I like being in the woods or whatever, Mm-hmm. I like my garden. I like cultivating plants and watching animals and that kind of stuff, or bugs or whatever. So I'm real weird. I like that kind of stuff. So that is good. But I stay pretty flexible, again, with the media, so that, some weeks are mural weeks and some weeks are like graphic design weeks, or even just whole seasons. I can paint murals in Oklahoma City pretty much between March and December. Yeah. But those months in between, right? You got 3 months there. That's nothing, Oklahoma right? Weather. And so I either got to store up and rest, which really doesn't ever happen because I'm not responsible enough to store up anything, and I never rest. But so that season might be like graphic design. I better go design some pre-roll labels or something like that, because I'm not painting walls or whatever.
I saw you were making stickers, right?
I make
cool.
stickers and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, van stickers. I'm gonna make some stickers of that van. I'll bring them over to you.
Yeah, definitely. That's like your business card.
Yeah, a little business card. Yeah, cool. I thought it'd be fun.
Yeah, it looks super cool. So we were talking a little bit before we got started off camera about NFTs.
Oh yeah.
So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts around NFTs.
I mean, I think it's amazing. I think okay. So let's preface this. I know nothing about NFTs. Right?
I mean, it's early stages, right?
It is completely foreign to me. I listened to your podcast with Jose the other day, maybe a month ago or whatever, and I probably learned more about NFTs on that than I have at all. Yeah, that's I just haven't researched it. To me, I think, and this is me being stubborn or whatever, or old school or whatever. I like a tangible object, right? Okay. Like, if I was going to buy a piece of art from an artist, I want to hang it on my wall. I like a print or whatever. Yeah. Now, that being said, listening to Jose talk about that, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, what are the things that I was telling my dad or my granddad whenever I was a kid? Right. Not my granddad, but my dad, hey, this is cool. You should try this. Mm-hmm. Or whoever, older artist, and them not listening, and me just thinking, they have no idea. Right, and that's what Jose's doing. I got to reach out to Jose and get that figured out. Or, so I logged in on OpenSea and was kind of checking it out. I think it's there. I think there's stuff there. I mean, even if you start thinking about video games or, like Fortnite, right? They're hiring artists to design splash pages and kits for their characters or whatever, right? Like Kipto, world famous muralist, design stuff for Fortnite. Yeah. That's tight. He's getting paid doing that, know? And so it's foolish of me to think that to not even buy any media necessary, right? I mean, so if I'm doing everything, right? Pencil, paper, paint.
You got to eat your own dog food.
Why would I not? Right. Seriously. Yeah. Why would I not go try that or do that? So I am curious. I have nothing available, but I have friends that are kicking butt with it. Chris Canale has one that's called Galactables, and it's super dope. Awesome. Jose's got his. He's got starting a company. I mean, it's incredible. So I don't have anything. I don't have an announcement to make anything. Right. But I'll do something someday when I get like 10 minutes to.
Because I think, you always hear the stereotypical like starving artists, right? Well, this whole like Web 3.0 NFT like changes that, right? Like now, if you're the creative, you're the one that produces the content. Like
Right.
man, like it's the amount of money you can make, the amount of like creativity is like unlimited.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know?
it's wild. And again, that resellability, that's not a word, but like that there's a percentage that continually goes to the artist is incredible.
You can get like a commission almost.
Like a royalty.
You set like a royalty every time it transfers.
It's amazing. That I think, I wish there was a way. I mean, maybe there is a way. I'm maybe just ignorant, but I wish there was a way I could do that with like paintings or whatever. You know what I mean? That's an incredible thing.
You were talking about investments. Funny you mentioned that. There's like actual like funds that you can like invest in. And then they have like the actual artwork, right?
Right.
Because a typical person may
just
not be able.
Collectors. Yeah, right.
Like I think artwork outpaces like traditional investments a lot of times, like in returns. So if you own like this crazy like I don't know, like Mona Lisa, let's just say, right? Like the normal person probably can't afford a Mona Lisa,
right?
But with NFTs, you could earn a percentage of that Mona Lisa, right? You go in with a group of people. If the Mona Lisa gets sold, you all get royalties, right?
That's tight.
There's a lot of opportunity there.
And that's how it should be. I mean, really, right? Like, that's how it should be. It's just like music, right? We need to be paying artists. I mean, artists need to get paid. That's important.
That's happening too with NFTs, where they're just like, I don't need a record label. I'm just going to release my album as an NFT.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So you can like actually purchase a song.
And that's like kind of where, you know, I'm a screen printer, so I like doing poster prints and that kind of stuff. So I've wondered too, like, well, what if I just did a poster print for the buyer like myself who wants the tangible object and it comes with the NFT or something like that. And then if you sell the NFT, that's fine. You still get your poster. You can keep it hanging on the wall or something like that. But
and it authenticates the poster, right? You can say like, this is the Okie Dust original.
Yeah, right.
You're the owner of this poster, right?
Yeah. And then somebody will be like, well, that was a bad investment.
I don't know about that.
Why? Cool. We'll see. I don't know. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, all that stuff is amazing. I love it. Art is really thriving right now. I mean, and music is thriving right now. We are in a really great moment where things are beautiful and video is beautiful and it's incredible.
And if you just look around, the younger people, like they don't really want to like flex, right? Like with like traditional like cars or whatever. It's more about like, what do you own online, right? Like if a kid plays Fortnite, like let me see like what kind of like upgrades you have, right? So I think the kids are already living that, right? Like where it's like all about like digital. Like,
definitely.
What do you own digitally?
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah, and that's, I mean, that's like we're in that kind of last generation of analog, really, you know, which is kind of like a wild. I don't know, it's cool.
Yeah,
it's
very
great.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I think you definitely have like some exploring to do there. Like I think like,
we'll see, man. Yeah, I'll try something. I'm gonna link up with Jose. I really am. I'm gonna. So there's another shout out to Jose. I'm gonna use him. I'm gonna figure it out with that way because they're doing a good job.
Awesome. Another thing I like to ask the guests is tell me something about you that most people don't know about. So.
That most people don't know about,
put you on the spot.
That we haven't already talked about. I mean, Colorblind,
it could be like
hitchhiking.
Something weird you like to eat or whatever. Like it can be as deep or not deep as you want, right?
Yeah. Man. I know I was supposed to. He sent me an email, you see, that had all these questions. And one of the questions was, tell us or think of something about yourself. Yeah. But I am an idiot. And in that email, I typed out, I went hitchhiking one time. And then I sent the email. And then I emailed him back. I said, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know.
Cool.
If they're that curious after all this, then just shoot me a message on Instagram. We'll chat.
Cool. Yeah. Plug in your social. Like, where can people find you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, hey, guys. My name's Dusty, Okie Dust. Okie Dust online at Okie Dust or okiedust.com.
Okay. On IG, where else are you?
That's pretty much it.
No TikTok, no Facebook?
No TikTok, no Twitter. I have Facebook, but honestly, let's just not even
Okay.
Don't even go there.
Potential YouTube to get that San Francisco.
The footage going. Yeah, we'll see. That'll be pending. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah,
cool.
I think maybe.
Awesome.
I don't know. But yeah, Instagram and stuff, or just come see me in the plaza. I'm around the plaza. If you see my old van cruising around, come say what's up. I have a little sticker. I'm gonna get little stickers of the van.
Cool.
Or if you see me out on a wall with a friend or something like that, come say what's up. I love talking to people. I like talking about art. I like working and talking, and so it's always cool. I love when young artists come up and say what's up. So, yep, there you go. Come say what's up. I got a smiley face on my hat.
All right. Well, once again, I want to thank you for being on the pod.
No, thank you,
I know
man.
you're super busy.
So
we finally made it happen. You had a ton of stuff to share. And like I said, like every time I would have a muralist or something, they're like, oh, you got to talk to Dustin.
Yeah. No, man,
so here we are.
That's humbling. That's very nice. There's a bunch of great muralists out there. Support local art. Support Sunny Days, Mural Fest, support the Plaza District, Plaza Walls. All that stuff is thriving. Paseo, we can throw them in there too. We need to support all this stuff. And if most of your listeners are in Oklahoma City, we know that it's growing.
Yeah.
And it's obviously putting our name out there, right? Like we're winning awards, right? So keep supporting art. I'm so grateful for everybody that supports local art.
Cool. That's a great way to wrap it up.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the super talented Okie Dust on the Maverick podcast. Keep grinding because in the dream we trust.